This is our policy review for the 2024-2025 school year. I won't keep you long, but I want to make sure I cover some things with you all in person. We usually have this meeting at the beginning of the year on the day right before students return. However, I know some people come in midway throughout the year or weren't present on that day. So I want to make sure I record this video so you have the ability to see what we discuss and know and understand and can sign off and say that we've discussed these things with you. Now, so I'm sharing my screen. So when we talk about our policy review, okay, we talk about our policy review. We talk about this every thoroughbred, every day, all means all. We discuss that and we talk about that all the time. You hear it all the time. And we say that because we want to make sure that we are addressing the needs of all South Aiken stakeholders, our faculty, our staff, our students, our community. And so we say every thoroughbred, every day, all means all, because we don't want to leave anybody out. We want to make sure. Now, is it always possible? No. But we cannot start the day and cannot start our processes with the immediate thought process that we're going to leave somebody out. Next up, we have our Power 5. These are the things that we want to make sure we are focused on, give ourselves priority for this school year. Okay, so safety and security is going to be number one. Before we can do anything else, we have to make sure that we are providing and facilitating a safe and secure South Aiken environment. That's always going to be number one. Nobody cares about what students learn if they aren't safe. Nobody cares about teaching if they don't feel safe. So we have to make sure that we're providing a safe and secure environment. Next up is student-centered learning. We want to make sure learning is provided for all of our students and students at the center of learning. We as adults are considered the subject matter experts. We are considered the content area experts. We know what we're supposed to be teaching. We know what the students are supposed to be learning, but now we got to make sure that they're the ones actually learning. Next, advisory enhancement. We want to make sure we're giving great advice. We want to make sure that we are coaching students well so they can go forth and be successful in the 4 E's. Employed, enlisted, enrolled, or an entrepreneur. We want to have positive relationships and high expectations. We talk about you catch more bees with honey than with a stick. And so when we have positive relationships, we can raise expectations because kids don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And then we want to be professional and excellent. All right. We want to operate in professionalism, doing things the right way, day in and day out, and then do it in an excellent way. So next up, the assistant principal duties. Please make sure you review the assistant principal's duty chart. Go to them first for anything that's under their purview. Go to them first to try and get your questions answered. Now, going forth with the Aiken County School Board policy. Okay, sexual harassment. The definition of sexual harassment is there, but a couple of things. For the male report for sexual harassment, if you are a male and you are experiencing any kind of sexual harassment, your first report is to go to Mr. Rouse as assistant principal to let him know that something is going on, that you don't feel well about something, or somebody is harassing you in a sexual nature. If you're a female and you're experiencing any sort of sexual harassment, your first report is to go directly to Ms. Schaefer. Okay, your first report is to go directly to Ms. Schaefer. If either Ms. Schaefer or Mr. Rouse are the ones doing sexual harassment or performing any kind of sexual harassment, then you bring that to me. Okay, as sample as principal, any kind of sexual harassment going on with an assistant principal comes directly to me. Okay, but just a couple of definitions of sexual harassment. Submission to such conduct is made either explicitly or implicitly a term or condition of an individual's employment. And then if you look at that last bullet, individual submission to or rejection of the conduct is the basis of any decision or affecting benefits, services, honors, educational program, or available activities. Okay. Then if you go again, policy G again, okay, looking at sexual harassment, one thing also with that, see, it could be sexual oriented teasing, name calling, abuse or harassment, unwelcome comments or conduct based on an individual's gender, identity or non-conformity of gender stereotypes, graphic or written statements including but not limited to text messages, typed or handwritten notes, derogatory cartoons, drawing, posters, or graffiti, inquiries about one's sexual experiences or activities, and then unwelcome touching including but not limited to pinching, patting, constant brushing against another's body, physical interference with movement or work, and their remarks with the sexual or demeaning implications. Okay, continue on with policy G. Okay, Staff conduct. Staff must conduct what's act in a manner that is consistent with all district policies and sets in the policy example for all. Please make sure you review policy G in the code of conduct, the staff and the board policy at some point in time. I make this clear because sometimes it's not fully understood. You, as an employee, cannot have sex or any kind of sexual relationship with a student, both inside or outside of school. It is considered sexual battery and it is illegal. No employees may engage in any inappropriate conduct of a sexual nature with a student at any time. Sometimes the question is the student is 19, the student is 20, and some students can stay to their 21. They are of a legal consenting age. But however, because they are a student, it is illegal to conduct any kind of sexual activity or sexual relationship with a student. All right. Again, make sure you're reviewing. I highlight this piece. Perception does not equal reality, but perception can hinder your ability to be successfully employed. All right. If you post something on social media, if you're saying something or you're doing something, and it negatively affects your ability to be successfully employed, teach a class, to work in a school, it can affect your ability to be successfully employed. So be careful of that. Board conduct. Board conduct in regards to staff. Okay. Some professional boundaries checklist. Make sure you're not taking undue interest in a particular student, using poor judgment in relation to a particular student, becoming involved in a student's private life. Some people, they say, well, we're mandated reporters. Yes. Neglect, abuse. However, if we're talking about you see a student and say, hey, that's your third boyfriend this month. That's undue interest in the student's private life. Hey, I heard your mom or your dad just recently got divorced. Are they seeing anybody? Okay, that's undue interest in, that's becoming involved in the student's private life. Not respecting normal boundaries, sexual-related comments or conduct, accepting student friend requests. Okay, there's no reason for you to ever be friends with a student on social media. Touching students and then explicit or profane language towards students, or even with students. If you're having joking conversations, you can't do it. All right. Next up, on the policy in regards to leave and absences. It is important that you come to work and show up to work on time and show up to work consistently. The continuous presence of employees promotes excellence in the instructional program by ensuring the following: uninterrupted continuity of education, greater teacher-student contact time, appropriate role model emulation, consistent classroom discipline, and reduced costs. You all are infinitely more valuable to South Aiken as a school than I will ever be. What do I mean by that? If you as a teacher, you as a custodian, you as an aide, you as a secretary, if you don't show up to work, we have to adjust. Student learning sometimes can't happen. Things don't get clean. Things don't happen. I, as a principal, if I don't show up to school, okay, the school day can still go on as normal. You all don't show up to school, the school day gets disrupted. It truly does. If a teacher misses a day of school, that is a day of learning. If a custodian misses a day of school, we have to show, maybe something doesn't get clean like it's supposed to. A secretary doesn't show up to school, maybe we can't get certain things and certain processes take place. Therefore, the board expects people to come to work every day. Now, in regards to coming to work, the employee handbook says that chronic absenteeism is considered more than one absence in 30 days. Okay, more than one absence in 30 days. And then more than 3 absences in 90 days. Okay, that's considered chronic absenteeism by the employee handbook for Aiken County Public School District. Know this, there's a 16.8% increase in absences requests on Fridays. All right, it's not just Aiken, it's not just South Aiken. This is district-wide. There is an increase in absence requests on Fridays. And 65% of absences are entered less than 24 hours prior to the absence. But there's a 91.34% fill rate on absences submitted 2+ days prior to absence. You have sick days. You have those built into your plan. To your absence schedule. Okay, if you notify us sooner rather than later, if you look at it again, 91.34% fill rate on absence submitted 2+ days prior to absence. All right. I know emergencies happen, but the more notice we have, the better off we're going to be. If you know that you're going to be having some sort of medical issues, family members have medical issues, please make sure you're notifying the FMLA coordinator, Alexandra Roden. Her name is here and it's in the system. If you need to request FMLA, or if you know that you're having some other issues, and it may require you to have some more absences, again, notify us sooner rather than later. Kayla Jordan is our employee relations coordinator. You can contact her if there's something that we need to be aware of. All right, paid parental leave. If you're having children, okay, this is a great thing that was put in place a couple of years ago. Well, not a couple of years ago, 2 years ago. All right, paid parental leave has been extended, and it's 2 to 6 weeks, depending on what's going on. If it's adoption, up to 6 weeks. If you have the birth of a child, it's up to 6 weeks. If you're a foster parent, it could be up to 2 weeks. Okay, so please make sure you pay attention to that and look over that and pause the video and read it if you need to. All right. Going back to policies review. Okay, we covered that piece already. Okay. So next up, personal ethics, FERPA. Be careful of your communication. Your email, your school email is not private. Okay, your school email is not private, and it is subject to FOIA, which is the Freedom of Information Act. If you're saying something, if you're speaking about something, the question you want to ask yourself is, do you want it to be on the official record? Do you want what you said in the email, what you said in casual conversation? Okay. Do you want it to be on the official record where the news is sitting there saying, and this employee said this on this date, and here's a transcript of what they said or what they put in the email? Make sure you're being careful of that, because once again, students have privacy rights, and if you violate that, what you say and what you do can be subject to FOIA, Freedom of Information Act. We have our staff meetings on Wednesdays, 3:35 to 5:35. Make sure you are not scheduling anything on Wednesdays, avoiding any conflicts. All right, political activity on campus. We are in an election year, but this is any year. You do not have the same First Amendment rights as private citizens in regards to, as school employees, in regards to discussion of political activities, First Amendment rights. Does it cause a disruption? Does it cause, can it be something that hinders your ability to do your job? And remember, social media communications can cause a disruption as well. If you post something on social media, and somebody takes it the wrong way, and it causes a disruption, it can hinder your ability to be gainfully employed. Social media, again, I will not be your Facebook friend. And again, it can become headline news. So be careful of what you do on social media. This is important. The Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals made a decision in 2017 that if you like something on social media, you hit that like button, it is the exact same thing as you having an original thought, crafting it up, and posting it yourself when you hit that like button. So be careful what you like on social media as well. All right. Know this. Know that the Pledge of Allegiance, students are not required to stand, but they cannot be too disruptive. And I go over this a lot for you all to know and understand that this ruling was made by the Supreme Court in 1943 in the midst of World War II. Okay, a very highly patriotic time. So just know that this is not something that recently came about. It was made in 1943. Students are not required to stand for the pledge, but they cannot be too disruptive. Okay, searches. All we as school administration need is reasonable suspicion to conduct a search on any person that steps on campus. That means teachers, that means students, that means parents, that means anybody who steps on this campus. We have the right and authority to conduct a search if we have a reasonable suspicion. That is a much lower bar than law enforcement. What I mean by reasonable suspicion is somebody comes to me and says, I think this person has a vape. That is all I need. I see somebody fumbling with their pocket and it doesn't look right. That's all I need to conduct a search. As school employees, we are all mandated reporters, which means you have the legal responsibility to report child abuse and or neglect. Now, reporting does not mean telling me as administrator, telling the school counselor. Reporting means contacting DSS and or the school resource officer. We can support you in that process, but telling me does not meet your burden. You have to tell a resource officer, you have to call DSS that's something that you suspect child abuse or neglect. Telling me does not meet that burden. You cannot give medication to a student of any kind. All right, please know that you would not have the right to give any student any kind of medication. I love you guys protocol should be on the back of your district issued badge. There are 5 different levels. The video was sent out during homeroom. But know that hold, secure, lockdown, evacuate, and shelter. We will go use hold often. Hold is not an emergency. It's not a dangerous situation. That just says we're going to keep students in class, maybe doing a dog search. We may just need to hold students in class because we need to hold the bells because lunch isn't ready. So if you hear hold, it's not a dangerous situation. We're just holding. Now, if we talk about secure, lockdown, evacuate, and shelter, please make sure you pay attention to the back of your badge. And it talks about how we operate in those situations. Okay, professional dress. We have to make sure we're dressing professionally as faculty and staff. You will see me in one of 2 things every day at school. You will see me in a shirt and tie, or you will see me in a South Aiken shirt. Okay, you won't see me in jeans. All right, you won't see me in shorts. You will see me in a shirt and tie and slacks, or a South Aiken polo, or a South Aiken shirt and slacks. All right, and you all have to make sure you're dressed appropriately as well. Fridays are days you can dress down with a South Aiken t-shirt and jeans, or if you're participating in Spirit Days, we have a Spirit Day coming up. But you cannot dress down if you need to go to the district office. All right, you can also dress down if you have a Jeans Day sticker, but once again, you cannot dress down if you're going to the district office. Our work hours are 7:45 to 3:45 unless otherwise agreed upon in writing. That means taking a day off, taking a half day. But if you need to leave school for any reason during the school day, you must alert administration. The South Aiken administration must be notified if you need to leave school during the school day. Just in case we have a 504, an IEP, some sort of meeting that we need to know that you are not going to be there, and we need to make sure that is approved. Grade weighting changes, we talked about that. But just know that South Aiken and all Aiken County Public Schools operate on 70% summative, 30% formative. Then policy KBB, custodial versus non-custodial parents' rights. If there is a divorce, both parents still have access. If a parent is on a birth certificate, they have access. The only time we cannot give that parent access to the student records and information is if we have court documentation on file. All right, ID badges, students and staff must wear their ID badges at all times. Students without ID badges will go to the last part of the line in lunch, and we'll charge $5. If there's a fight, your only responsibility is to tell the students to stop fighting, keep other students back, and then alert the school administration. You are not required to break up a fight. Like I said, you all are infinitely more valuable to a school than I ever will be. If you get hurt in a fight, student learning stops. So that's your only responsibility, to tell students to stop fighting. If you see any kind of bloodborne pathogen, any kind of bodily fluids, please don't attempt to clean it up yourself. Notify the front office so we can get a custodial member to clean it up properly. We don't want you trying to touch those things. Again, you are infinitely more valuable. Door coverings, okay? Keep your doors uncovered. The only time your door should be covered, your window should be covered, is in the event of an emergency. All right. Health education. If we'll cover that in person. Okay. The bookkeeper's office is open from 11 to 1 each day. Grants, make sure you utilize donors. Choose. Do not use GoFundMe. If you need a guest speaker to come to your class, or you need to show a video, I think full-length video, YouTube clips are different, but if you need to show a full-length video, you need to make sure you fill out the guest speaker protocols. For classified staff, you can take sick days in 15-minute increments. For certified staff, you can only take a half or a full day off. We are allowing field trips. Make sure you're making contact with parents. Okay, make sure you're making contact with parents. Parents want to hear from you all first. If you hear of something going on with bullying, don't wait until the student can't take it anymore. Let the administration know so we can deal with it. All right. If you're covering classes, make sure you're looking for those emails from Ms. Harant. And if you are having issues, let's see. Audio enhancement. There we go. If you're parking in the back of school, know that we are not responsible for damages to your car. You are parking in the back of school at your own risk. We have students back there during wind time, during lunch, and if something happens to your car, South Aiken is not responsible. Audio enhancement lanyards are required to be worn. You're not required to turn it on, but you're required to wear it at all times. Okay. Only time you should press and hold the security buttons on both sides is in one of two circumstances. One, you need Officer Wallace to come running to your classroom with his weapon drawn. Two, there's a possible student or adult that's going to lose their life if we don't respond immediately. That's it. That's all. Do not make it a boy that cried wolf situation to where we need somebody soon, but you're pressing and holding the button and we're hearing it over and over and over again. I'm going to tell you, we are human. People will stop coming running. Okay? So please make sure you're doing that. All right? Photos and videos of students. We're an opt-out district. Do not ask students if they want their photo taken. We will let you know if a student has opted out. So do not ask, take it out of your vocabulary if a student wants their photo taken. Okay? Be a pro. Make sure you're showing up and being on time to duty day in and day out. We're not going to micromanage that piece. If you're not showing up to duty, we're just going to document. Okay? All right? If you have an issue, be mindful of who you're speaking to about that issue. Take it to somebody who actually can do something about it. If you're just talking to somebody and saying about and whining about something that's going on, if they can't fix it, do you really want it fixed? If you really want it fixed, take it to somebody who can actually fix it. All right. And then everything else was basically for the first week of school. So we don't have to cover any of that. So once again, this is our policies review. I'll be sending this out. And once you've done viewing this video, please go by the main office and sign up on the sheet with Ms. Harant. Thank y'all. And remember, it's every thoroughbred, every day, all means all.